Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day 1, or day 2, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
All right, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops, but also I was going to say apples and apple cider and pumpkin. What else is good? Pumpkin lattes.
Pumpkin lattes are back at Starbucks, I'm sure.
Everything is back at it's that time of year.
That's right.
But we're going to do part 2, Coach.
Yeah, part 2 with Sylvia Colucci. If you haven't listened to part 1, I strongly encourage you to go back, listen to that. She's a dynamic individual. She's a coach. She coaches a high-level volleyball team here in the Bay Area, as well as a girls' youth life coach. So we dove deep into not only coaching, but some nutrition. She's a nutritionalist, and as well as just understanding how to coach differently, males versus females. So it was a fascinating discussion. So go listen to part 1 if you haven't, and part 2 is right around the corner.
It's last week, so go listen to that. Also, go over and check out Coaching Youth Hoops, coachingyouthhoops.com. It says what it is. It's everything you need for coaching youth basketball. It's the one-stop shop. It's Buc-ee's for basketball. There you go. There's your.
And if you don't know what Buc-ee's is, you're on the West Coast. So
yes, you're on the West Coast. They're coming. I've only been to one Buc-ee's on the way to Florida, but anyway, it's crazy. It's like Walmart and Target had a baby with 7-Eleven kind of thing. I don't even know. I'm trying to.
It's a good analogy. Yeah,
it's hard to describe, but anyway, Coaching Youth Hoops is that. Go over and check it out. This is the perfect time. We got everything from practice plan, everything you need. One-stop shop for youth basketball coaches. And then what else, Coach? We have some AI stuff too, right?
Yeah, go check out coachingyouthhoops.com/AI if you really want a competitive edge this season. Go sign up for that. We'll get you on the list. We're slowly delivering that to coaches who sign up now. Again, coachingyouthhoops.com/AI. That will give you deep insights into how to coach each individual player, but also basically you film a game, we tell you exactly what you need to do in practice the next day. So go check it out at coachingyouthhoops.com/AI.
All right, let's head off to the podcast.
I know I'm going to open up this rabbit hole, but we're turning youth sports into a business, and I know you know that. And this idea of just all the time, which then goes back to the other subject that we originally started that I told you I was going to come back to, is burnout. And 12-year-old girl or boy burning out at that young of an age.
I
Like,
know.
what? Like that's worse than smoking, or sitting now is the new smoking, right? So and I'm guilty of it, and I try not to be, and
yeah,
it's just
sure.
Anyway, I had this girl on my team. She's now in high school, and I had no idea. She would come to practice, and she just looked tired. And she was an athlete, and was a really good athlete. She just looked tired,
Hmm.
and I had a
Hmm.
conversation, and I said, "Well, what?" And I saw a pattern. Like one day, whatever. Oh, did you stay up too
Hmm.
late,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
And I saw a
sure,
pattern,
sure.
right? And I'm like, okay, I gotta drill deeper into this. Like, what is going on with you? You can't be showing up for
Hmm.
practice every day just extremely exhausted. Like, what is?
Hmm.
And then she finally said, "Coach, this is my third practice for today." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah,
Hmm.
every morning." This was over the summer. We get up. She wasn't even in high school yet. Get up. We lift weights. Lift weights. We have a trainer that comes to the house, and
Hmm.
then I have a basketball trainer that I go to for an hour and a half, and then I come to practice and go for an hour and a half. And I made a deal with her, and I said, "Look, I don't, if you just need," and I just took it onto myself. I'm like, okay, if you need to sit when you come to practice, just go sit. I'm, and in so many words, I said, I'm not going to say, I'm not, I knew her mom, and I know the
Hmm.
personality she is, and I said, I'm not going to say anything. Just come,
And
sit.
B.
Right. And you can watch, and when you're ready to
Hmm.
jump in and play,
Hmm.
right? And I don't know, just kind of, soft spot on that. And then, this other idea of, and I really want to get your take on this and how you would balance this,
Yeah,
because this comes up a lot.
yeah. Okay.
So there's a point where, there's a difference between kids just don't want to practice today versus they really don't want to practice today. And
Hmm.
and they'll come to me and they'll say, "Hey coach, can we have a bonding day?" And I know the difference in the tone of the voice and the look on
Hmm.
their face between, "Oh, we just
Hmm.
don't, we just want to screw around today," versus
Hmm.
we really just need to not do anything besides
Hmm.
sit and talk, right? And
Yeah.
as a basketball coach who's on a competitive team or coaches a competitive team that has two practices a week and then pressure to win on the weekends, I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, like can you do this outside of practice? And then I'm like, I'm not listening, like, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I know obviously I don't want to be taken advantage of either. So every practice is like, oh, can we do bonding? Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Sure, sure.
that balance of, maybe you can help me. Like, how do I know when it's like, okay, time out. You're right. Time
Hmm.
out. You have any
That's a good
thoughts on that?
question. Um, so I think it's relate. Okay, yeah, I do. And this is me putting on my nutrition medical hat, kind of,
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a few things. One, it depends on how many games, like, are you guys just coming off a tournament? Are you, and it's been you've been at a 3-day tournament and now they're coming back to practice. My girls are burnt out after a 3-day tournament. Burnt out.
Hmm.
I actually cancel practice.
Mm.
And, I do coach a competitive team, and by the third day, they are spent. And usually our practice is on a Monday. So some of the tournaments are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, let's say. And then
Mm.
boom, we have practice on Monday. I've been known to cancel that practice,
Mm.
not once, but numerous times because they just can't, like they're spent. They've worked
Yeah.
hard. And so in that case, I look at how much we've just played. Then I look at if I look at the time of which season we're in because my girls in the winter, they're run down. I look at
Mm.
where we are in school. Are they about to write finals? What like the
Mm.
stress levels are
Hmm.
up?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, I got one girl calling in sick. And when I say they're sick, they are sick. I'm like, don't, and
Mm.
they say, Coach, I'll still come to practice. I'm like, you keep, I want you to,
Right.
so
Yeah.
we have a little pact where I say, I want you in bed by 9 p.m. If you promise me you are in bed by 9 p.m., then you're doing your job. Because these girls have colds, flus.
Yeah.
One of my players at the moment has pneumonia. And I said, no, you're not coming to tryouts. Stay
Yeah.
home. And, she's, so I look at where we are in the season because I see that as the season progresses and we get into like darker winter, colder months, their immunities all start to come down.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but when we first start off, everyone's up here and then it starts to break down. And I also look at it. So right now I'm building out our tournament schedules. And there's a tournament that all the parents want to go to, but it's a back-to-back. So it would be we go to a 3-day, we come back, we practice 1 day, and we go to another 3-day tournament. And I said, I'll have 4 girls out sick because
Mm,
you go to these facilities and
yeah, yeah.
it's right in the winter, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah.
said, I'm pulling us out of that tournament and I'm putting us in a different tournament.
So, you were talking about your athletes being at sick. You have this pact, like don't come to practice. We were talking kind of this idea of, when they need that, when they actually need the team
Hmm.
bonding and can't go
Hmm.
any
Hmm.
further. Yeah, it's funny that everything you're saying is like you've been listening to this podcast for a long time. You've been inside my head. We share a lot of the same philosophies and vision of how to run a team. And I'll be honest, and this is the first time I'll ever admit this, I always thought I was wrong. I always thought I was doing it the wrong way, or
Yeah.
I wasn't that A-type personality that's just got a win, win,
Hmm.
win, and I didn't take it serious enough. And I see, all of these coaches doing something different, or
Hmm.
just, they're like telling you stories before we got on about this guy being upset about his girls getting their ears pierced and was like really serious about it. And then, or
Hmm.
you see them yelling. And I told you another story about a coach yelling at me the other day,
Hmm.
that we were coaching against. And I'm like, do I have this formula right? Like they're winning, we win. Why aren't more coaches following this
Doing.
philosophy and doing that so they don't burn out by the time they're 13? Or why are we not recognizing? And I think I know the answer. I want to hear your perspective though. Why is it becoming so structured? Why is it and we're not recognizing that they are kids?
I think because, well, there's a few. One, parents just want the best for their kid. The another answer to that is
Yeah,
that you have to look at where we live. We
right.
live in a community with a lot of opportunity, um, privilege, and I think that parents um, put a lot of pressure on themselves, and then
Hmm.
whether they intend to put that pressure on their kids, it just naturally happens. And so I remember when I moved to this community, I remember my central nervous system was in shock at the intensity and the
Uh,
competitiveness.
yeah, right.
Now,
Yeah, yeah,
and look, I'm not trying to say that to bash the community because I love this community, but
right.
I remember saying to my husband, like, if you went home and asked somebody about Sylvia Colucci, they'd say she's one of the most competitive people. Like, I was a competitive kid, but I, I just think we have taken it to another level.
Hmm.
And my parents didn't come to any of my games. They were blue collar, hardworking immigrant parents. They
Yeah,
didn't even know what was going on. Like my brother knew, my brother would be like, Mom, do you even know that she just won that award? Or like my parents were like, oh,
yeah.
good job, good job. That like that was it. Like I remember they came to 4 of my, it was like state championships,
Yeah.
and they came because they were on a Sunday, but they couldn't come to any of my games during the week because they
Mm,
had to work.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it was on a Sunday in the afternoon because had it been on a Sunday in the morning, my dad and mom were at
Mm,
church.
yeah.
Like it was like all the stars aligned and they were like, okay, we got to go to the championships in order for them to come. And they couldn't leave their jobs to come and watch my games. And so I just navigated it on my own. Um,
Yeah.
Now everybody's so involved and everyone thinks in order to succeed, you have to play for this club. get coached by these people, and there's like this protocol. And just even looking at it that way, I think these kids feel it, and they're part of it, and it doesn't matter whether you want to be part of it or not. It's just the way it goes in
Yeah.
certain communities. And
Well,
I actually think that does a disservice to the kids.
and it's funny too. I tell my kids too. It's like, yeah, my parents came to one game. I should say my mom came to one game. I don't think my dad ever saw me play. And
Hmm.
for the same
Hmm.
reasons, right? And now, as you see when you go to the gyms, they're packed with parents on the sidelines.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
again, not to say that's bad. It's
Hmm.
but again, it's just different than what it used to be. So I'm okay, I'm a coach. I'm listening to this right now. Um,
Hmm.
what advice would you give them, or yeah, what advice would you give coaches to create confident, resilient young ladies that they're mentoring? Like what's the and does it change? And have you seen it over the years? When we talk about this, I think I probably think about it way too often or too much, too,
Hmm.
which is okay, I'm a male coaching girls, right?
Hmm.
I can relate to them to a certain point. I have a daughter, right? I can relate to them
Hmm.
to a certain point. A female coach, obviously, much deeper level.
Hmm.
So again, is the approach different, male coach versus female coach?
Hmm.
And if so, how, in your opinion?
Um,
And should I be more aware of certain things that, as that male coach that you've seen over the years that um,
mhm.
we're not in tuned with as much?
It's interesting, Bill, because I actually think you're a great coach, um, and I think you do lead with love. I really do. And I think if male coaches hear that, they're like, "What is she talking about?"
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
but I'll tell you this. I do find, male or female,
Hmm.
when you lead with "we've got to win," that's the wrong approach. And
Hmm.
that's I teach a very competitive team, and we do great for the Northern California volleyball region.
So let's again,
Um,
yeah, come back to this question of being a male coach versus female coach, coaching girls,
mhm,
coaching
mhm,
confidence, building resilient young ladies. What's the advice you have? You did mention that if you approach it, doesn't matter male or female, from all we have to do is win.
mhm,
But I'm going to pause there for a second,
mhm,
okay? And
mhm,
you know this as well as I do. You look at volleyball, or in my case, basketball in our
mhm,
area.
mhm,
And I don't know volleyball as well, but I know basketball. And I can point to a team that's all they
mhm,
care about is winning. They're very
mhm,
successful. They have a big
mhm,
program. The certain type of parents is absolutely attracted to that.
mhm,
Um, this message of leading with love, there'd be even from the females would be like,
mhm,
no, they win. I'm going to get,
mhm,
they're after scholarships, right? In college,
mhm,
I mean,
mhm,
recognized scholarships. So
mhm,
to say that it doesn't work from a X's and O's standpoint.
mhm.
And again, I'm challenging you a little bit.
Yeah, no, go
When
for it.
I say
I love
that
it.
is it doesn't work.
Mhm,
It works if you're
mhm,
measuring it on wins and losses. I'll
mhm.
tell you how it doesn't work, but go ahead, just start there.
So I would be I would challenge you and say, show me the girls that actually continue to go on and play in college.
Yeah.
The numbers are so low, so
Yeah.
low. And really what you're getting by playing on this competitive team, and what you're getting by being with these girls that you spend hours and hours with, I think if you're doing it right, the pros outweigh the cons, and you're learning life skills, you're building confidence, you're letting out, I have some girls who have major anxiety. They suffer from anxiety, and they come to practice and they leave having left it all on the court. One of my girls, I say, leave it all on the court, just let it all out.
Mm.
And she's like, Coach, I feel so much better. And
No, that's awesome.
she has had anxiety for many years, but so to me, you know, these parents and these kids, and then on the flip side, I see these girls that I coach who are playing for these really high level clubs and teams, and they're not happy. They're not.
Hmm.
And that's where, if I could, preach to the entire world, it's what are we doing for our kids? How are
Yeah.
they going to end up, 20 years from now? And they're losing focus on really what's important, and they're burning out, and they're not getting to college, and they're not, or they get there. And you know how many girls say to me, I'm not doing this because I want to do it. I'm doing it because
Mm.
I know this is what my parents want, or this is what my
Yeah.
this is his dream, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm really defensive, and I feel very protective of how I coach these kids and how I think other coaches should be coaching these kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, I look at that from the same perspective too, and think about that the same way. And, I had, um, again, there's a very, we'll call it successful program because they win a lot,
mhm,
that their culture is this idea of crabs in a bucket.
mhm,
So crabs in a bucket, crab is trying to get out, the other crab will pull it down, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
it is very well known, um, that the culture is that way because they think it's going to create better competition and that
mhm,
they're always competing against one another, right?
mhm,
Now, I can't argue that isn't true because they produce some great athletes, right?
mhm,
However, I think where the the kids suffer is higher anxiety. They're always they're always looking behind their shoulder. I mean, I have a girl that I know very well I trained her for years, went to this particular team and literally stopped playing basketball after her junior year, after all this huge investment. I mean, she talk about a girl. And actually get to see her next week, which is awesome. The hardest working athlete, male or female, that I have ever coached
mhm,
in 17 years.
mhm,
And she was amazing. And she should be playing in college. She graduates
mhm.
this year. She should be playing in the WNBA after that from a talent level perspective. But
Yeah,
she
yeah.
ran into this wall of just, I can't do this anymore mentally, right?
Mhm,
Because of
mhm.
this culture that was built around her. She should have moved schools, but then, you know how that is as a
I know.
teenager, in junior
Hindsight 2020.
year, and then, but
Mhm.
anyway, the point is, yes, okay, I think you're absolutely right. They can win today, but I think they suffer in the long-term mental health area.
At
Uh, just my
100%.
opinion, but
Yeah. You know what I always say? I say there's two, you can win in many different ways.
yeah.
I want to say this today. I say this to parents. Stop asking your kid when they come home from a game. Let's say you haven't been there, you don't know, you were at another kid's game. Don't say, "Did you win?"
Mm,
Don't lead
mm,
with that. I
yeah.
want you to ask them, how was the game? How'd you play? How was the
Yeah.
team? What happened? Guess what? You're going to find out if they won or lost. But when you lead with, and I have so many parents who say to me, Sylvia, that's the best advice you've ever given me, because
Yeah.
that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. Because is it just about the win? Really? Like, it's so much more than the win. What if I always my volleyball team entered this tournament. We blew every team out. We won the tournament, and I was so disappointed because the level of play was terrible. And I'm like,
Um,
we shouldn't have even been in that tournament. I didn't like that. I didn't like even how we won, but I'll tell you, I would rather put my girls in a tournament where are they're playing they're playing up and they're learning how to grind and how to lose. You got to learn that too, right?
Yeah,
Because
you do.
the
Yeah.
people who become these amazing athletes, you look at all the sports, they'll all tell you we've lost way more than we've ever won. And you learn so many lessons, but I would rather go to a tournament having lost in the championship match against a team that was better than us and we learned all these things by playing them versus going to this tournament where we just blew everyone out of the water. We get these medals and I'm like, I don't really care. Like that's like it's
Yeah,
and if you ask
absolutely.
parents, they'll tell you, no, we want the medal. We want to say that we won in that tournament and we blew teams out of the water. And I say
Yeah.
that that's not my coaching style. I want to build these girls. I want to make them better. And yeah, I do want to win a tournament, but I want to win a tournament where I know like we're they're playing amazingly skilled athletes more within their level, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it really just depends. There's so many different um, ideas around coaching styles and winning. I think winning is great. Do I want to win? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's these kids feel that if they lose, they're failures.
Right.
Not
Right.
not true at all.
Absolutely.
Not
Yeah.
true at all. You know?
So I had again, this team that the eighth graders, they're going to high school now. And
Hmm.
I've been coaching them for, gosh, I don't know, 3, 4 years. And we entered a tournament like you were talking about, playing way
Hmm.
above our pay grade.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And kind of set the expect. Well, I didn't say it out loud, but I said it's gonna be a tough tournament.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a lot of good
Right.
competition, right? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And we were just getting our butts kicked. Literally, like
Hmm.
we couldn't do anything right. This team was so
Hmm.
good,
Hmm.
and it was fine. And when I knew that I was on the right path of doing things, our captain on the team said, admitted, we're getting our butts kicked, but our goal isn't to win this game. Let's make a goal of getting literally, I think we had 10 points at the time.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing. And let's get 15 points.
Hmm.
And talk about the happiest loss when we hit that mark of 15 points. Because
Hmm.
they knew if we can get to 15, like we're busting our butt to get those extra
Yep.
5 points against this
Yep.
team. And they, mid game, when they scored that 15th point, and I'm
Mm.
talking, it was probably like a 30-point difference, right?
Yep. Yep.
They cheered. And
Oh, I love it.
I
See,
saw
I
the
love that.
parents on the other team saying like, what are they cheering about? Like they're getting their
Yeah, like
butts
they're getting
kicked by
smoked.
30. And afterwards, we always do a team huddle. We talk about, as you know, we give out the red dot awards and
Hmm.
the captain just said, man, we learned a lot. I don't know. Oh my gosh, like, okay. I'm like, okay,
You're
I'm
like, I'm
done
doing
here.
something right. You're like,
Right? Yeah. Just
yes.
like, oh, okay. You're absolutely we learned a lot. And I'm like, that's all you had to say. And she
Yeah.
laughed and they're like, hey, and it was all about, can you believe we reached our goal?
Yeah.
Because they knew that it was gonna be tough to get 15 points on this
Yeah.
team. So,
Now,
you gotta
let
look at
me
no,
ask you
go ahead.
this, Bill,
Mhm.
as a coach,
Yeah.
where do you think your girls truly grew in that situation? Right? Like, where did they become better ballers?
Yeah.
Having been put in that situation where maybe now they're going to go to a tournament where everybody's on equal playing ground, but they're going to know what it means to push and
That's right.
grind and get that, like let's look at what they're learning, what they're taking away from it. And I don't care that they lost. Like I
No.
love what you called it. Like it was their happiest what did you say? Their happiest loss?
Happiest
Like
loss. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, like and I'm going to tell you, that's the team I want my daughter to play on because you need to know what it's like to come from down here and get here. And then you
Yeah.
take another, you surpass another hurdle and then another one. And then before you know it, like you're winning, you're winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You know,
anyways.
I say the exact same thing. I was like, yeah, of course I like to win, but I don't really care. Just,
Hmm.
okay. I say, okay, you're talking to your kids, right? Let's fast forward, right?
Hmm.
And you're not going to say, "Oh, I remember, we were, X wins and, Y losses in my
Hmm.
fourth grade year." What you're going to remember is the girl next to you. Oh, I had so much fun
Hmm.
with,
Hmm.
or
hmm
I remember that coach. What was his name? Coach Bill. Yeah, right. The
yeah.
experiences that we had or the
Yes.
comfort zone challenges that we're doing. And I said, that's what matters at this age. We can worry about winning later. And I was like, look, and then we spend a lot of time defining what a win is. And
Right. Well, that's
when I
great.
first started talking about that, I felt like, oh, that's coming from a coach who loses a lot. So he's got to come
Hmm.
up with things
No.
to make them win.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? No, that's not true. It's like,
Mhm.
what's a win? Again, we've had some of our happiest losses be a win because
Mhm.
either we're working on something or it's like, oh my gosh, that we went into a triple overtime game, right? And we
Mhm.
lost by 1 point in the end. Triple overtime against this
That's
team.
amazing.
And they knew that that game could have gone either way.
That's right.
They were playing again above where their
They
pay
should
grade,
have
so to
been.
speak. And
Yeah.
they're lost by 1 point in triple overtime. And no long faces. It was like, oh my gosh, can you believe we just accomplished that? I'm
Like
like,
amazing, right?
amazing. Yeah.
And
Uh,
so to that point, Bill, I do think coaches, like a coach could go either way. Like if that was me in that situation, I would take those girls and I would hug each and every one of them. And we'd probably do a group hug and I'd say,
yeah.
listen, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of how you played. But like I said, there's certain coaches who feel like, damn it. Like, sure, like, darn, it could have gone either
It put
way.
it either
But
way,
the
right?
girls,
Yeah.
like, if I'm giving advice to coaches, the girls don't know if you don't tell them that you're proud of them, that they played
Yeah.
their hearts out, that they did well. Like, right? Like it, and some of the kids in those moments will cry. And so I really hone in on them and I say, but let's talk about all the good that happened
Hmm.
and let's focus on that and build from there.
You're absolutely right. And, we have post-game rituals too that we don't, it's not really about the win or the loss. And, like
Mhm.
you said, I've been more upset in some wins than I have been
Mhm.
in a lot of the
I hear you.
losses, only because,
Mhm.
it's like, you know, we should have beat that team by more and we didn't, or we
Yeah,
should,
yeah,
you
sure.
guys weren't executing and you were doing,
Yeah.
I don't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Like you just
like
weren't playing well. You
you
may
just
have
weren't playing.
won, but like the level of play wasn't what I
Or the
know you're
level of
capable of doing.
focus. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Okay. I think we're what? We must be in hour two right now.
Yes.
So we're
I
gonna
know.
have
I
you
know.
back on the show. We could
Sure.
fill a series. So we're definitely gonna have you back, and we're gonna drill into more of these issues because we just literally scratched the surface of all of this.
I know. I know. I know.
But two things. Let's wrap this up. You
Hmm.
started off with saying, what do you want coaches to walk away with? You said less
Hmm.
is more. Are you
Hmm.
still on that? Is that true? Is that the message you want to leave with? And then two, how where can coaches find you if they want to reach out, or parents if they're interested in learning more about what you do with teenage girls or for
Yeah.
teenage girls?
So, um, well, yes, I still do believe that less is more. And I
Hmm.
think I find it interesting. Coaches love to give so much. And it's not just from a coaching point of view, it's from a parent, like the parents, less is
Right.
more. I was kind of going with less is more from a parenting uh,
Okay.
approach. But with coaches, I think that it's important that you really listen to your athletes and you got to build that bond. You got to work on that team culture from the
Hmm.
get-go. That's where I really feel coaches have to step in and work. That's, I always, I do believe it's what's up here that's going to really truly separate the teams that work together, play well, and win versus the teams that fall apart. And so, a lot of times the coaches are giving so much and these kids are so overwhelmed and they're little and they're not even grasping all this content. And then they're being told to, like, read the playbooks and this and that. And it's like going like this, like these
Yeah.
kids are just, they're so less is more. Like, focus on some really good things and keep repeating that over and over with them, and listen to them, because they're going to tell you what it is that's wrong, or what they need, or where they're suffering, right? And it
Yeah.
does depend on the age of the kids too. So
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
And then how can coaches or parents get a hold of you? Where's the best
Sure.
spot they can
So
look you up?
my website is sylviacolucci.com. I have everything there.
And we'll put
And
that in the show notes.
Yep. And I also have an Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, but it's Sylvia Colucci Coach _RD for Instagram, and just Sylvia Colucci for Facebook. And it's all on my website, actually. So
We'll start
yeah.
there and we'll put that in the show notes. And Sylvia, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We covered a lot of ground, but I just feel like we were just really touching the surface on
Yeah.
everything
Yes.
that's related to this subject. So we're gonna have you back on. So
I'd love to be. It was
as
great,
soon as we
Bill.
hang up here, we're gonna schedule it again so it doesn't go too
Okay.
far, because I think I know I enjoyed the conversation. I know our listeners will as well. So thank you so
so
much for
much.
being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to chatting some more.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia.